Moving on to consequences, let's add a consequence. Now, as you can see, this tab is far shorter than the other ones, but of course, just because it's small, it doesn't mean you should overlook it going past. It is easy to forget these things, so always think, are any of these consequences mentioned? So first of all, is the Riot Act read? Well, we know that there's rioting, but we don't know whether the Riot Act has been read. An article needs to explicitly say, after the reading of the Riot Act, or then the Riot Act was read. Increased presence of authority just means effectively that there are more police or military in the area as a result of unrest to prevent any further outbreaks of violence, or at least to try to. And of course we've got the contested button here. I don't think that they would contest that the Riot Act was read, but there may be a contestation about increased presence of authority. Now you notice that there were other causes and associations and other consequences. Now for the others, you would always put in a comment what this other consequence is. So say for instance, cost of damages was £3,000. Now, I've put that in deliberately, and now I'm going to take it out because that's the sort of thing we shouldn't be recording. The other consequences, the other causes and associations, the other violence, they are for things that are particularly of interest to us and our project. So, cost of damages was £3,000. Yes, that was another consequence, but is it really significant? Does it say anything about the causes and consequences of electoral violence more generally, or is it just a specific and largely irrelevant fact? Well, the cost of damages being £3,000 doesn't really tell us anything. Therefore, we shouldn't record it. We're really just looking for using the other options if something specifically interesting is said. So say, for instance, if another consequence was, for instance, that polling itself was delayed, this says something interesting about the causes and consequences of electoral violence, because this has actually affected the course of the electoral contest, and perhaps that's something that happens more than once. It may happen several times over the period of 1832 to 1914. We would record that as another consequence, but the 3,000 damage isn't of particular interest.